In 500 AD, pulling someone's hair with two hands cost more than pulling with one. Sounds absurd. But this same legal code distinguished between accidental and intentional harm, a concept modern courts still use today. The Burgundian Code wasn't primitive chaos. It was carefully engineered technology to prevent society from tearing itself apart. So how much was a human life worth? Let's find out. The Burgundians were a Germanic people who settled in what's now eastern France around 450 AD. Unlike other barbarian groups, they were heavily Romanized. They wrote their laws in Latin. They created separate legal codes for Romans and Burgundians living side by side. This wasn't a primitive tribe rejecting civilization. This was a sophisticated society actively blending two legal traditions into something new, something that would hold their kingdom together for 50 years. Here's the problem they faced. Someone kills your brother, honor demands you kill them back. Their family then kills you. Your family retaliates. This cycle continues for generations. Our entire clans wiped out over a single death. Without police forces or prison systems, how do you stop this? The Burgundians had an answer: Wergeld, literally man payment. Every person had a monetary value. Kill someone, and instead of endless bloodshed, you pay their family. Violence converted into calculable compensation, grief given a path to closure. The Wergeld system priced human life based on skills and status. A goldsmith, highly trained, irreplaceable, was worth 200 solidi. That's about 900 grams of gold. A trained servant or messenger, 60 solidi. A carpenter, 40 solidi. Partial injuries followed proportional logic. Lose an arm, half your Wergeld. Lose a finger, a fraction. This wasn't callousness about human life, the opposite. By putting a price on death, the Burgundians gave families something other than revenge. A grieving widow could demand compensation and actually receive it. The killer's family paid but survived. Both sides could move forward. Conflict resolution technology, centuries before modern mediation. The code didn't eliminate vengeance entirely. You could still kill the person who murdered your relative. That right remained, but you could not kill their cousin, their brother, their uncle. Individual accountability, not clan warfare. This was a pressure valve, not an open floodgate. The code channeled the human need for justice while preventing it from consuming entire families. Vengeance with limits, a compromise between honor culture and social stability. Here's where Roman legal sophistication appears. The code distinguishes accident from intent. If your dog kills someone, the ancient rule requiring vengeance is explicitly removed. No Wergeld owed. Compared to modern law, a tree falls on your neighbor's house during a storm, no liability, but you were warned the tree was dangerous and ignored it. Negligence, you're responsible. The Burgundians understood this distinction 1500 years ago. They separated what we now call torts, civil wrongs, from crimes. Accidental harm required different treatment than deliberate harm. This wasn't primitive thinking. This was legal philosophy, sophisticated enough that we still build on it today. Why did hair matter so much? Among Germanic peoples, long hair signaled prestige and power. Merovingian kings wore specially long hair as a mark of royal status. When the Carolingian dynasty later deposed them, they didn't just remove them from power, they cut their hair and sent them to monasteries where monks wore the tonsure, a shaved head symbolizing religious submission. Hair pulling with two hands cost more than one hand because two hands meant deliberate humiliation. You planned it. One hand might be instinct, a moment of anger. Two hands was calculated public shame. In honor cultures, public humiliation was social death. The fines reflected that reality. The code reveals brutal hierarchies. Status determined everything. Free people paid fines. Slaves who committed the same offense were beaten or killed. Assault on a free woman meant compensation paid to her. Assault on a slave woman meant compensation paid to her master. because she was property, not a person with legal standing. The gender double standards were stark. A man who ran off with another woman paid a fine. A woman who ran off with another man was smothered to death. Same action, radically different consequences. This system worked for some people by being brutally unfair to others. We shouldn't sanitize that. The social pyramid was rigid and legally enforced. At the top, Burgundian nobles with their long hair and highest Wergeld values. Below them, free Burgundians and free Romans, each with their own legal codes. At the bottom, slaves who existed outside the system of compensation entirely. Crimes against them were property damage. Crimes by them were punished on their bodies. Your position on this pyramid determined whether you paid gold or received lashes, whether your death demanded compensation or barely registered. The law didn't create equality, it codified inequality with mathematical precision. The Wergeld system eventually disappeared. Western law shifted to treating crimes as offenses against the state, not individuals. The government prosecutes, the government punishes, victims became witnesses, not parties. Only recently has victims' rights re-emerged as a concept. We've built elaborate systems of incarceration, but families of murder victims often say the same thing. They want closure. They want justice. Does a prison sentence provide what the Burgundians' direct compensation did? The killer's family paying the victim's family created a direct transfer, acknowledgement, material support, a tangible end. Our system offers punishment, but not necessarily healing for those harmed. The Burgundian Code wasn't barbaric chaos. It was a carefully negotiated compromise between Germanic tradition and Roman sophistication, between the human need for vengeance and the social need for peace. It preserved Roman legal concepts like distinguishing accident from intent while adapting Germanic customs like limited personal vengeance. It held a society together through 50 years of political instability. It was also brutal, hierarchical, and deeply unfair by modern standards. Women died for actions men paid fines for. Slaves had no legal personhood. The system worked by excluding most people from its protections. Both things are true: sophisticated and unjust, effective and cruel. Some of these ideas are more sophisticated than we give them credit for. Some are more brutal than we want to admit. The Dark Ages weren't dark because people stopped thinking. They were dark because the thinking served systems we now reject. Understanding that difference matters.